getting information on Jeff's situation?
Oh, I mean, other than the initial, and this is why I'm always hesitant, and I'm going to say this because the way information travels, sometimes you got to be mindful of people's families or their loved ones or friends, and the bad information gets out, and God knows, the parents are looking at it or the wife or whoever, and you really just never know until you get an MRI. It's like the other day, just the longer you're in this, you just see things that you're like, oh, that looked awful. And thankfully the guy's okay. Or it's like, hey, that didn't look very bad. A little incidental bump. And, that's kind of what happened to Greenwich the other day. And unfortunately, he's going to have surgery. So he goes on IR. So with Jeff, it's an ankle, but you look at it, and I just don't want to be quoted on something and give you, one way or the other. But we'll have more after he gets done with an MRI. And then hopefully it's optimistic and, he'll be back out there. So that's kind of where we're at. And I hate to be that vague. And this isn't like, trying to be vague for competitive reasons or whatever. I mean, how it is, D-Led, you get the injury report and we take that serious. And as the season goes on, it's just the way information travels, you guys have all seen it. I mean, guys are getting carted off and they're all kind of ridiculous rumors. The guy's okay. I just won't know until he gets in an MRI.
And we saw him putting in, with what we got to see, him putting in the work with Coach Gray. And
right.
He was working really hard at it. It looked like,
the journey's not over, and unfortunately Jeff's had some injuries, and I say this all the time. Sometimes it's not just physically when you rehab, it's mentally. There's a lot of obstacles you've got to, overcome, and we're mindful of that. So hopefully we get good news in the MRI. We'll just take it from there.
Was it I couldn't see from my vantage, was it non-contact, or was it like he went up?
No, it's an ankle, so like the severity of it, when guys, unfortunately, it's unfortunate part, but sometimes in football or really an injury sport, a guy in basketball comes down, he steps on somebody's ankle. I mean, it's not like the guy underneath him was doing, just as unfortunate. What you get frustrated if there's something that somebody's out of control or clip somebody on the side, and that's the stuff you can't tolerate. We haven't had any of that, like I said, unfortunately what happened to Ethan, and we've had a few other ones, and some of those guys, it depends if it's soft tissue or if they need surgery. That's what you use the IR and different things like that.
There's obviously kind of coming in for Jeff after he gets carted off. What have you kind of seen from a guy like that since he's gotten in the building?
Well, Trey's been, he's got experience. He's a veteran. He's played multiple roles. But one of the guys I think is competing really good out there. I mean, Cornell Armstrong. I mean, Clark, Mike, D. I mean, we've got a lot of depth at a lot of spots, and so hopefully, you get good news on Jeff, or we feel like we got depth, and so that's been good competition and different than you're in a game sometimes, and unfortunately somebody has to come out, and that's your backup plan for that game, and then you look at it and the game plan may be different. But there's a lot of really good competition. We feel like we've got good depth in the DB room, and so if it's something short term, somebody's got to step up.
Des was saying after Wednesday there were those couple injuries, and he thought that the energy of practice kind of dropped off a bit after those. How did you see the team today after Jeff's injury?
Yeah, look, it's you don't ever want to lose your humanity, right? Football's a tough sport. We understand that. So, I'm not going to sit there and just do, the old like Riverside the drill and move on. I'm going to make sure that every player, the players is okay what it is, and you got to continue practice. Everybody's got a different opinion. That was one thing. I thought a little bit we got a little tired at the end of practice too, and so usually when guys' legs get heavy, sometimes it, play with bad technique and people on the ground, and that's what you got to push. That's what we're training for, to ramp up and to be able to play. I mean, people don't realize how hard it is to go as you're building up, and all of a sudden week one you're playing 65 snaps and full tilt. So it's a combination of a couple of things, and everybody's got their own opinion, and I respect that. Nobody wants to see injuries, but as long as it's, you look at everything and make sure there's nothing you're doing that can prevent it, or something different, or if somebody's out of control doing something cheap and illegal, we won't tolerate that. We haven't had that.
Going back to when Akuda went down, it looked like the DBs and some of the linebackers got together and took it. And you looked like you went over there as well. What did you say to them, or just?
We just talk to people. We're people first. I mean, everybody looks at guys in helmets and think they're, like you're playing Madden or some kind of modern day gladiator. We're people first, and so everybody processes information different. I mean, I've had plenty of guys that they have the process. Every time they step on the field, they pray or whatever they do. You know, they got it's a close group. It's a close team. You know, sometimes you see things, and you know, unfortunately, we've seen stuff that's, you know, when things are obvious fractures. I mean, those are hard to look at. But you know, it wasn't anything like that, thankfully. But yeah, they care about their teammate.
Coach, what do you think of the red zone move today?
It was good. You know, just trying to throw situations. You know, getting in some obvious pass situations down there, trying to press them. You know, we obviously have a lot of different things we could do down there, but you need to work with what I call obvious pass situations. You know, we get into critical downs and in a game, or you know, when, like I said, obvious pass would be 3rd and 8 down there. We work some 4th and 6, 4th and 5, things like that to put a little stress the best we can manufacture. I thought offensively looked pretty clean. I thought we had some pretty good pockets, and you know, until you go in the film, you know, initial for the offense looked pretty good. But as we get on and get into the film room and talk as a staff, you know, we'll make sure see what the issues were.
As you look to next week for the preseason game, is there a specific area you want to kind of like focus in on to kind of evaluate?
Well, you evaluate stuff every day. I mean, it's another step. A lot of it will depend. You know, we'll play in the preseason how much. You know, for some guys, if you see how the practices go down in Miami. But you know, in terms of evaluation, we got a lot of guys trying to earn a job, and they need experience. You still got some young guys on this team, and certainly the rookies. They've never played an NFL game, and they need to get out there. And it's an opportunity, but you want to make sure you're clean. You want to see the guys that can operate. It's just the next step, you know, in the build up to the season and really the evaluation. You want to be clean operationally. You know, you usually see in the preseason there's a million flags. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have procedure penalties. That's the stuff you're trying to get us ready to play a real game.
How much more can you evaluate in even just joint practices than going up against the same guys every day? Or
yeah, it's just different. You know, sometimes different schemes. You know, looking forward to seeing. You know, Miami's one of the faster teams. You know, it'll be good for us to see some of those matchups, among other things. Yeah, just different environment. Just, you know, they get a little more competitive. We've seen our guys now, you know, about 10 days get down there, and just another evaluation tool, and you know, they're becoming more common too. Everybody's got different philosophies on it.
You said the other day, I think you said this is the most fun you've had in terms of the competition. So is part of that also that your team and everything is getting closer to how you envision them?
There's a lot of factors. You know, you know, we've taken on a lot of change here, clearly. So, you know, the way this thing, we've been able to build this, and, you know, you learn a lot of lessons along the way. You're not going to be perfect. But if you're objective and not, you don't have the ego where you're defensive, you can really learn a lot as you know, whether you've made a mistake and continue to evaluate. And we've got so many good people here all over the building and what we're trying to accomplish. And I know every team's super optimistic right now, but there's a real energy here that you can feel that's not fake. But we have to go out and do it. Like, we got to try to improve every day. It's to me, the most competitive league in pro sports. We got to go out there and earn it. And we got to get ready to go, and it's a long journey.
What do you like from your receiver group, maybe in particular, Matt Collins?
Our skill group, you know, all those guys, and they're competing, and, you know, we're tight ends and backs are part of it. I just look at it as a skill group. I think overall it's been pretty impressive. You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see how D-Led, maybe we'll check the league. Maybe we'll change positions every couple of days, drive you nuts. Call CP a receiver one day. I'll call him a running back. Maybe we'll pull him a tight end. I don't know. That'll cause some interesting debates.
Saw a couple of two jerseys out there.
Yeah,
and you visited with their dad. What was that like? What was it like for him, do you think, to be back out here?
Well, he was going to come out here in the spring, and then I don't know if he was doing his camp or whatever. I don't know what he's doing. Getting ready for TV, I'm sure. I don't know if he got a new wardrobe or whatever he did, a new stylist or something. But we love Matt, and you know, I enjoyed the hell out of the year I got to work with him. Dave and I stay in touch with him. You know, we have kids of similar age. He doesn't live that far from me, and I love having Matt out here.
Arthur, there was this play at the end of the practice where I think it was Heineke threw the alley on the back line, and like the offense just erupted. seemingly just, I mean, crowd loved it and all those type of
Sure.
things, but it was also, it felt like for the moment, just kind of showing us in some respect, maybe something you've already known about the connectivity early for this team.
These guys love to go out there and compete, and you take it with perspective. It's like in one-on-ones, what you're working, you know, the competitiveness, the details, you take it with perspective, right? We work in red zone simulated situations. You know, that's the thing, too, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You talk about the preseason, another evaluation. Nobody's hitting the quarterbacks in practice. So you may hold it a little bit longer than you really would if they're really rushing at you. But it's a good competitive spirit and an environment that we can create. There's always stuff to teach. You know, celebrate what you want them to do. Then you're trying to get the next group to work. And then you got a couple of young guys that are taking 10 seconds getting their stuff back on. So, you know, hey, buddy, we got to go. So I love the energy, I love the passion, and there's always something to coach off of.
It was interesting, Desmond said that Bijan is rooming with the quarterbacks.
Is he?
Yeah. Well, we kind of just got the idea of having him room with them, and they said sometimes they quiz him on plays and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't put a ton of thought in the rooming list. Kind of threw a couple darts at it, and I guess that's how it ended up.
Coach, are you pleased with the level of communication happening both offensively and defensively at this point in camp?
Yeah, but you know that's what you want to see. I mean, it's their job to push these guys. I mean, it's sometimes some practices you hear earlier on where you're kind of lethargic, but you need to communicate. You got to be good communicators, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, and that's what we're out here to practice and train for. But you need to see that. I think I have been pleased, but we got to continue to get better at it.
What kind of potential do you see in the rookie Carlos Washington?
He's got a lot of opportunities. He's impressed us every day. DC kid, went to Riverdale Baptist, he's a really smart football player. So he's got a great opportunity. You know, he's impressed, and he's going to get a lot of opportunities in the preseason.
Sort of a random question, but when you're watching practice, do you know exactly, you know, this period I'm going to be here? I notice like you're kind of toggling back and forth.
You know, that's the thing. Is everybody got their own voice as a head coach or however your style is. Like I can't separate myself to just one group. I know my background and being a play caller on the offense, but at the same time to be a really good head coach, in my opinion. And again, everybody's different. And you can talk to 31 other guys, and I need to be around the whole team. And there's certain things that I think need to be addressed, or I want to see from certain things as you plan out practice. We set up, hey, what do we want to work? I may see something. I may not like a communication, so I may go down there and say, hey, look, I don't hear you, or I want to see something on the line of scrimmage, because obviously I have the script, so I know where the play's going. We don't give out the script. The offense, defense don't know what the other side's doing. I'm the one that's got it. So I kind of have a pretty good, unless we screw something up, like where I think the ball should go, or there may be a matchup I want to see, and that's kind of what I'm doing, trying to make sure the whole team, it's my job, being the coach of the whole team.
How does having a guy like Cordero help as you implement a positionless offense?
I wouldn't call it positionless. We got to line up somewhere. We got to be legal. Versatile. There you go. Put a thing on your feet. No, we just got a lot of guys with different skill sets, and there's a lot of logistics involved into it. And he's been here a couple of years, right? And I gave Matt a script today, and to say, hey, how much you really recognize, as we've continued to evolve, and we were talking through some things that CP's played a lot of jobs, so he's been familiar with it. Kyle being in year 3 of the program, Drake being in year 2, as we've evolved, they're used to kind of the way we operate, which helps. They can help some of the young guys, even the veterans that get here that haven't done something like this. Every offense I've been around has been different. That's taught, so it helps when you have some familiarity with guys that have been productive that you trust. So, like I said, I love coaching CP. He's a big part of our team.
You showed Matt the way practice was going to flow. How different did he say it was compared to what it was 3 years ago when y'all were?
We just talked about, there's a lot of change. I mean, even this part of the building, and what they're building and down there, and just talked about a few things. I mean, today was my mic'd up, and he got mad at me because I turned it off whenever we talked to Matt.
2 years ago, offensively, 2 years ago, you guys with Matt threw the ball 500 plus times, whatever it was. Last year, you guys were 3rd in rushing in the NFL. What do you make of the offensive firepower you guys have built here, and the potential you have this year to kind of implement both of those?
Actually, one of the first people to actually notice that. Most people have a recency bias. They just think, oh, you're going to run it 700 times. Hey, you grow a mustache, you drive to running back, maybe you're going to run it 750. So you play to the strengths. It's not, we have our core values when we want to play, but that's what we're talking about evolving, what you think the strengths of your team is, not only offensively, but maybe how you're going to be able to play defensively or certain matchups or in the special teams in all three phases. So, yeah, I mean, Matt, thrown for a lot of yards, so we, tried to play through him. I mean, where we were, we had a rookie tight end. Again, talking about recency bias, the guy broke just about every damn record there was as a rookie tight end. People forget that. And then last year, with different team, and as we continue to build with some of these young guys and different players we had in there, maybe on one-year deals, and clearly evolved. And this year, we feel like we have different strengths, and we'll see how it goes. But we've got our plan, and you better be able to adapt too if it's not working, and have some flexibility. But we've got a lot of ways we feel like we can move the football